Yate shike do shitene. Alvin Harvey yenishye tobaj na ajaneshle. Hananahi bashichin biligana dashiche. Aroki ane dashinele. Got ego de ne nishle. Aztec New Mexico de Nasha. Hello, my name is Alvin Harvey. I'm a current PhD candidate in the MIT Department of Aeronautics and Astronautics, and president of the MIT Native American Student Association, as well as a MSRP 2017 alumni. As a citizen of the Navajo Nation, I've greeted you in the traditional Navajo way, the sharing of my name and of my clans. And I am happy to be virtually with all of you to share MIT's land acknowledgement. MIT acknowledges Indigenous peoples as the traditional stewards of the land, and the enduring relationship that exists between them and their traditional territories. The land on which we sit is the traditional unceded territory of the Wampanoag Nation. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced occupation of their territory, and we honor and respect the many diverse Indigenous people connected to this land on which we gather from time immemorial. Thank you. Now, as an MSRP alumni, I will share with you some Navajo wisdom. The great Navajo leader, Chief Manuelito, told our people that education is the ladder to success, prosperity, equity, and justice, not just for yourselves, but for your family and for your community. Keep climbing that ladder, and may you have joy, happiness, peace, and confidence wherever you go. Continue to walk in beauty. Hajan, my friends and relatives. And now a welcome message from MIT Ford Professor of Political Science, Dr. Lily Tsai. Thank you.
Welcome to the 36th Annual MIT Summer Research Program Virtual Research Forum. I'm Lily Tsai, Professor of Political Science, and I'm currently also the chair of the MIT faculty. I'm proud to be the first woman of color to hold this position since it was established more than 100 years ago. MSRP has over 35 years of a very rich history in inspiring and cultivating the next generation of talented undergraduate scholars like yourselves from underrepresented and underserved backgrounds. The charge of this program has been threefold. It aims at promoting the value of advanced education, addressing the underrepresentation of underserved identities in the research enterprise, and allowing bright students to explore their intellectual curiosity in preparation for graduate education at MIT or beyond. MIT, as you know, prides itself on its global leadership in research and innovation. But what we've realized is that innovation requires inclusion. To construct creative and effective solutions to our most difficult problems, we have to have a rich range of voices in the conversation. MSRP is one of our earliest keystone initiatives to make sure that this is the case. Working with all of you, having all of your voices in the mix, makes us all better at asking the questions that really matter and working towards solutions that are better designed and have greater impact on the society that we hope to create. I also have a personal commitment to this program. I'm proud to be the first professor from my department to have served as a faculty advisor in the MSRP program. My lab, MIT Governance Lab, or MIT GovLab, has hosted 2 MSRP students, both of whom have gone on to graduate programs at elite universities. One of them is pursuing a Master of Science in Applied Social Data Science at the London School of Economics, I'm proud to report, and the other is a PhD student at UCSD, which is one of the top ranked programs in political science. I also have a personal connection to the program that stems from my own background growing up in a family where no one had any experience of how to apply to college and how to do well at college. Even though I was born in Oklahoma, I grew up with parents who struggled with speaking English and with grandparents who never even learned to read. I spent most of my time in college wondering how so many people around me seemed to magically know things, how to insert themselves in class discussions, how to give a polished presentation, that going to office hours wasn't for remedial students who were falling behind, but could also be an important way of getting to know a professor so they could write you a good recommendation for graduate school. It wasn't until much later that I learned I could ask how people learn these things and figure out how to learn them myself. My hope is that participating in MSRP has given all of you the power to know that you can ask these things. You should ask these things of your teachers, your advisors, and often, most importantly, your peers. And that you now have that much more of a network and community for reminding you and empowering you to get the answers that you need. And finally, I hope that being part of the MIT community can help you take more risks. My parents valued education very highly, but they thought of it mostly as an insurance policy, a way of making sure that their children would have a livelihood. My hope is that joining us in MSRP can help go beyond education, help you go beyond education as an insurance policy, and that it can also open up all the wonders of research and education as paths towards sparking innovation, all the innovative ideas that you have in your head, and helping you pursue your love of learning. That's why I'm excited for this year's two-part virtual forum. This will include a formal program with a keynote address and recognition of all of you, the 2021 MSRP cohort. It'll immediately be followed by a live virtual poster session featuring all of the incredible work all of you have done this summer, despite what has been a most challenging year. So thank you for joining us at MIT. Congratulations, and I can't wait to see all that you have accomplished.
Hello, my name is Camila Acevedo Carrillo, and I'm a computer science student at the University of Central Florida. This summer, I've had the wonderful opportunity of joining MIT's MSRP program, where I have been conducting research at the MIT Media Lab's Fluid Interfaces group. It has been here where I've gained substantial knowledge and experience with brain-computer interfaces and how these can be used to develop assistive technologies that are both effective and accessible for various underrepresented communities. But today, we are here to talk about our fantastic keynote speaker, a fellow Puerto Rican and an MSRP alum, Dr. Carlos Rinaldi Ramos. Dr. Rinaldi Ramos is a leading scientist in the areas of ferrohydrodynamics, biomedical applications of magnetic nanoparticles, and transport of nanoparticles in complex and biological fluids. He received his bachelor's degree in chemical engineering at the University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, my almost alma mater, and completed degrees in Master of Science in Chemical Engineering, Master of Science in Chemical Engineering Practice, and Doctor of Philosophy in Chemical Engineering here at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Prior to becoming a professor at the University of Florida, Dr. Rinaldi Ramos was a professor in the Department of Chemical Engineering at the University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez. Moreover, his research spans theory and simulation of magnetic nanoparticle response to dynamic magnetic fields, nanoparticle synthesis and surface modification, and characterization of nanoparticle interactions with biological environments. He has made various contributions to science, and among these are the following. In the field of ferrohydrodynamics, Dr. Rinaldi Ramos has made fundamental contributions to understanding of suspension scale flows of ferrofluids in time-varying and rotating magnetic fields. In the field of nanomedicine, he has made outstanding contributions to harnessing localized nanoscale heating for magnetic nanoparticle thermal cancer therapy. Additionally, he has pioneered development and application of new methods to evaluate nanoparticle stability and diffusion in complex and biological fluids. And most recently, he has contributed to understanding the physics of magnetic nanoparticle response to alternating magnetic fields, enabling rational design of an emerging biomedical imaging technology. Very exciting. Dr. Rinaldi Ramos is committed to mentoring new generations of scientists and engineers seeking solutions to biomedical problems, and to broadening the participation of women and minorities in science and engineering. So at this time, I would like to turn the stage over to our keynote, Dr. Carlos Rinaldi Ramos, Chair and Dean's Leadership Professor in the Department of Chemical Engineering at the University of Florida.
Hello, my name is Carlos Rinaldi Ramos, and I'm the Chair and Dean's Leadership Professor in the Department of Chemical Engineering at the University of Florida. and also a professor of biomedical engineering at the University of Florida. And I am delighted to be participating in the MSRP research program symposium this year. Even though it's virtual, I'm happy to share my experiences and hopefully interact with some of you. And I want to start by congratulating all the students who participated this summer for, first being selected to be part of the program, and second for the great work that I'm sure you all did. So moving on. So what is a wannabe? And so this is from a song by Puerto Rican rock band Fiera La Vega that was very popular when I was a student, an undergraduate. And it has a core, part of the song says, "Dame un momento para probar de que estoy hecho. Soy el que va cuesta arriba, soy el que va al acecho," which can be translated to "give me an opportunity to show what I'm made of. I'm the one going uphill. I'm the one on the prowl." And this song speaks to, a feeling that I think many Puerto Ricans share. Sometimes we feel we're underdogs in a way. And so it really resonated with how I felt growing up. And it's a song that actually I've listened to for my entire life and keeps me motivated when I feel like quitting. So I was born in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. It was taken over from Spain in 1898 in the Spanish-American War. It is located in the Caribbean, shown here. So this is Florida. It's a beautiful tropical island with a wonderful culture that is a mixture of African, Taino, and Spanish roots. Wonderful wildlife. This is the coqui, which makes a sound that a lot of Puerto Ricans love and Hawaiians actually hate. Because the coqui is actually an invasive species in Hawaii, as I learned in one of my trips. There's beautiful beaches. This is El Morro, which is a Spanish era fort. Growing up in Puerto Rico, I enjoyed the water a lot, so I learned scuba diving. I pursued my undergrad studies at the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez, where I studied chemical engineering. This is the engineering campus of the University of Puerto Rico system, and it's located in the city of Mayagüez on the West Coast. It was a wonderful time being a student there. I had opportunities to do research as well, and these are two of my research advisors, Professor Antonio Esteves and Professor Carlos Ramirez. They were among the first to, give me an opportunity to learn what research is about and to sort of gain new skills that help me professionally. I was fortunate to participate in the MIT MSRP program in 1997 and in 1998. In 1997, I was a rising senior. And in 1998, I actually had already graduated from my undergrad and I had been accepted to do a PhD at MIT. At the time, the program was run by Dan Langdale, who, was a wonderful person, very caring and very supportive of all the students who participated in the program. And I also want to highlight Guillermo Amir. Guillermo Amir was a PhD student in chemical engineering at the time. He's from Panama. And so one day I was walking around the student center at the University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez after lunch, and Dan Langdale and Guillermo Amir were there to recruit students to participate in the summer program. And so I had the opportunity, so Guillermo pulled me aside and started to, talking to me about going to MIT. And, even though I was a really good student and I had a 4.0 GPA and I had research experience, I didn't see myself as MIT material at the time. And so Guillermo really motivated me. And so I applied and I was fortunate to attend. My first summer, I worked with Professor Karen Gleason, who's professor in chemical engineering at MIT. This is the cohort of students that summer. This is me back here. This is Dan Langdale. I want to highlight Socrates Gomez, who's a great friend from that time until now. We've kept in touch. And so that summer, I learned the value of working hard and playing hard. And it also provided me an opportunity to see myself as a grad student at MIT, to realize that I was in fact MIT material. I could go to a place like MIT and pursue my studies. It also provided a wonderful opportunity to meet people, peers with similar interests, and really, be in a very supportive environment. My second summer at MIT, I worked with Professor Greg Stephanopoulos, and that was also a great summer research experience. So I pursued graduate studies at MIT, studies in chemical engineering. Cambridge and Boston were a great place to pursue grad studies. A wonderful, really fun time in my life. This is Building 66, where I spent my PhD studies. This window here was my office. My advisor was Professor Howard Brenner. I did my research in theoretical fluid mechanics. He passed away a few years ago. He was a very supportive mentor, and I really enjoyed working with him. In addition to my PhD, I did a master's in chemical engineering practice, and this is a very unique program in MIT chemical engineering that allows students, places students in industry and companies as teams to solve really difficult and very important problems. And these problems can result in multi-million-dollar savings for those companies. And I had the opportunity to participate in Lyon. So I spent 10 weeks in Lyon, France, which was a lot of fun. And when I finished my PhD, I actually became the professor, if you will. So I participated as assistant station director, supervising teams of MIT students working in Japan. And so this is a picture from Japan. It was a really wonderful experience. After my PhD, I could have done a postdoc, but I had an offer from the University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, and I really wanted to go back to Puerto Rico. But also, in a way, I was worried, about whether, I could really be successful as faculty anywhere else. There's not a lot of Hispanic faculty in chemical engineering, so not a lot of role models of success. So I went back to Puerto Rico, and it was a really great 10 years. This is a photo of my first group, my first two PhD students. And this is a photo of the group around 2011, about a year before I left Puerto Rico. There's a lot of highlights of my time, my first 10 years, but one of them is being selected for the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers. And here's a picture taken at the White House. So this is me, and this is President Bush. And so I met the president. And, politics aside, it's exciting to meet the president of the United States. It's exciting to visit the White House. President Bush was with us probably for 5-10 minutes. He cracked a joke, he shook our hands, we took a picture, and he was gone. But it was fine. It was a really fun visit to Washington that weekend. In Puerto Rico, I started a family. I met my wife, Cynthia Rivera Jimenez. We have 2 wonderful kids. Cindy obtained a PhD from Puerto Rico. And around 2012, we decided to leave for many reasons, personal and professional. And we were fortunate enough to come to University of Florida, where I'm faculty in biomedical engineering and in chemical engineering, where there's also a wonderful Hispanic and Puerto Rican community that's very supportive. And finally, where I've been able to expand the countries, the diversity of my group. I really love working with students. And in Puerto Rico, it's great. I had students from Latin America primarily, and now I still have students from Latin America, but I also have students from India and China and other countries. And so it's been a wonderful experience. My lab works with magnetic nanoparticles, and we've come a long way from just modeling their fluid mechanics. We now do synthesis of these materials, formulation into drug carriers and imaging agents, modeling of their dynamics and magnetic fields, studies of their transport in biological environments, studies of their interactions with biological entities like cells. We also use them to generate scaffolds for tissue regeneration and for thermal cancer therapy. And more recently, we're interested in using them for imaging applications. Because I really think that the summer experiences that I had were instrumental in me realizing my potential as a researcher. I like to give back in that sense as well. And so I've directed 2 NSF-supported summer research programs similar to MSRP. These are called REUs. The first one was at the University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez. And so this is the first cohort. Everybody learned how to scuba dive. That was pretty cool. We had about 10 to 12 students per year for 3 years come to Mayagüez and do research and learn about Puerto Rican culture. And now I'm the director of a program here at the University of Florida. This is the first cohort from 2019. Unfortunately, 2020, we weren't able to run the program, but this year I'm very happy that we have about 15 students working, participating in the program. And so it's been a lot of fun. So to close, I want to say a few things primarily for faculty and administrators who might be listening. And that is really that programs like MSRP are really special, and they deserve, they really need to continue. They provide very important immersive research experiences to participants that build their confidence and motivate them to pursue grad studies. I say this from my own experience. This can be very helpful in overcoming imposter syndrome and also visualizing oneself as a grad student, because you get to live like a grad student for the summer. They are really valuable in expanding the participants' professional and personal networks, meeting peers with similar interests, being in a group of supportive peers, but also faculty, meeting and interacting with faculty and PhD student mentors who can provide professional advice and reference letters. The value of a letter from a faculty member of another institution and being able to get into grad school is just, very important. It's very significant. And finally, they obviously provide valuable research experiences and skills that provide future opportunities. This can really strengthen CVs for applicants to grad school and jobs, and this can be especially important to students and who are pursuing undergrad studies in universities that don't have as many research experiences, or they do have research experiences, but they're not necessarily at the cutting edge. And so these are some of the reasons why I think programs like MSRP are just phenomenal. And I'm very proud to have participated. I'm very proud of supporting MSRP. And I hope people, that continues to receive support from MIT. Thank you.
I would like to thank Dr. Carlos Renata de Ramos, our keynote speaker, for sharing and partaking in our 36th annual MSRP Research Forum. Now, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Embar Polanco Pino, and I'm doing research in the Aeronautics and Astronautics Department, specifically the Space Propulsion Laboratory here at MIT. I'm a rising senior at the University of Missouri, Columbia. Now, I'm not just speaking for myself when I say that this summer has been one of the most meaningful and impactful summers of my life. One of the main reasons that I came to MIT, other than the fact that it's one of the best schools in the world, is because Dr. Ronald E. McNair also came here and etched his legacy into the very walls that I now do research in. MIT dedicated Building 37, home of the Center for Space Research and part of the Aeronautics and Astronautics Department, to Dr. McNair back in 1986. I'm now in this building most days of the week. Most people might know Dr. McNair as being one of the astronauts on board the Space Shuttle Challenger at the time of its fatal accident. But what most may not know is that, like myself, Dr. McNair had many other passions outside of physics and engineering. As an accomplished jazz saxophonist, 5th degree black belt in karate, and one of the first African-American astronauts to go into space, Dr. McNair represented more than excellence in the field of science, but he also represented excellence in every facet of his life. MIT's motto, Mens et Manus, which translates from Latin to mind and hands, is a great representation of what Dr. McNair embodied. I believe that his ability to change the status quo in both thought and action with his mind and his hands is an ability that we all possess. As a McNair scholar, scientist, and musician, I also find myself striving for such greatness in every aspect of my life, not only for me, but for the future generations that come after me. For I can also be of inspiration to all people, especially those from underrepresented and historically excluded communities, just as Dr. McNair inspired me. I was more than pleased to find out that this is a popular point of view at MIT. Through many conversations, research seminars, workshops featuring MIT faculty, staff, students, scientists, alumni, colleagues, and members of the community, I've been able to grow in thought and partake in action that will change our world for the better. Emphasis on our world, because I believe that lasting, meaningful change is accomplished in community and sharing these same attitudes and goals with one another while working together. And I believe that the community we have built this summer will be in the forefront and of meaningful and lasting change. Continuing the work and fulfilling the vision of greats that came before us, such as Dr. Ronald McNair, is only part of the reason as to why this summer has been so meaningful to me. The other part is in these relationships that have been built in our community. Living and working alongside so many other outstanding and motivated individuals that I can now call family, but 2 months ago were strangers, is one of the main reasons why I have so much hope for the future. The fact that we arrived to MIT from different countries, different states, different environments, different cultures, different experiences, but we're still able to come together under the same passion to help our world and the same people in it, says something about the power of community. My story, a story of never giving up when it seemed like all the odds were against me, is only one of the stories of the almost 80 interns participating in the program this summer. In a few moments, you'll view this year's highlight reel, which will capture the many ways this program has impacted our lives. You'll also have the opportunity to hear from my fellow intern and close friend, Tobi Majekodunmi, who will also talk about the research he's done this summer as an example of the work this program allows us to do every day. Once again, I want to thank you all for being part of the 36th Annual MSRP Research Forum. I hope you continue to enjoy the rest of our agenda. Thank you.
I am a second-generation American, Black, Latina.
I'm from Monterrey, Mexico, and I'll be the first person in my family to graduate from a university in the US.
I am a first-generation Nigerian American immigrant.
I am a first-generation Latino.
I'm first-generation Puerto Rican woman in STEM.
I am a non-binary and queer Filipino immigrant.
This summer, I researched recent efforts by state legislatures to both expand and restrict voting access across the 50 states.
I've been working with the MIT LIGO group. LIGO is extremely precise equipment that is used to detect gravitational waves coming from deep outer space.
This summer, I did research with a team that's developing a thermal energy storage device, which collects electrical energy, converts and stores it as thermal energy, and then outputs electrical energy.
This summer, I compared and analyzed different sequencing alignment tools for single-cell RNA sequencing.
I am developing a novel thermal processing technique to join ultra-high temperature resistant refractory metal parts using nano-sized metallic particles.
For my MIT research, we are quantifying political dynasties in Brazil.
MSRP provides this unique environment whereby students who are normally underrepresented can come to MIT and be surrounded and mentored by people who look like them. And I think this inclusivity is the perfect environment to prepare interns for success in graduate school.
MSRP provided the guidance I needed to orient my goals, prepare my applications, best present myself, and eventually matriculate to MIT.
For as long as I've been at MIT, MSRP has been a program I've deeply admired. It's one of the few programs that has a proven track record in getting students from a position of not really understanding what graduate school and research might be like to being fully prepared and almost overqualified as applicants for graduate school.
We're here to make sure our students are doing well emotionally and are living healthy research lives.
MSRP helped me to focus in on my graduate school and career dreams and taught me that nothing is impossible with hustle, confidence, and passion.
To make the world a better place, I plan to inspire and mentor other Latino researchers and other underrepresented students to fully realize their goals and dreams for the future.
I plan to make a better world through using my research to improve humanity's quality of life, one person at a time.
Promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all.
I will help drive the world from a reliance on fossil fuels to renewable energy.
I will make a better world through my commitment to fostering communities of empathy, inclusion, and equity through the power of research.
The MSRP cohort of 2021 has been like a family.
It's been so good being part of a community of such highly accomplished individuals from all parts of the country and of the world.
Each person has helped me to view
science and the art of research through a different lens.
And you see the passion in everyone's eyes.
It all went by so quickly.
One word that describes my MSRP experience is transformative.
Action-packed.
Multifaceted.
Exhilarating.
Amazing.
Sublime.
Perseverance.
Breathtaking.
Life-changing.
Empowering. Inspiring.
Aspirational. It's all about what we're doing next.
I will ensure a habitable environment for us and our future generations.
I will change the face of elections research and women in political science.
I will change infrastructural design to better serve marginalized communities.
To become an engineer and to advocate for and inspire other Black women engineers.
And I will also refocus the perception of Black individuals within the STEM community.
I will be a bridge to increasing higher education in my home country of Honduras.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tobi Majekodunmi, and I'm a mechanical engineering student at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Today, I'll be discussing the work I did in the Atomistic Simulation and Energy Research Group under the mentorship of Dr. Acevedo and PhD student Alina Lapotin to develop a heat flux sensor. To begin with the context of my work, energy storage is crucial to the transition from the use of fossil fuels to renewable energy. And my team is leveraging the principles of heat transfer to develop a cost-effective energy storage device for use on an electric grid scale, known as thermal energy grid storage, or TEGS. TEGS uses collected electricity to heat up graphite, and that thermal energy is conserved through use of insulation. And once the energy is needed, it is converted back into electricity using thermal photovoltaic cells, or TPVs for short, which use similar principles to solar cells to convert heat into electricity. To measure how effectively the TPV cells convert thermal energy into electricity, you need to know the power output of the cell and the excess heat emitted by the cell. You can measure the power output through electrical contact, but to measure the heat emitted by the cell, you need a heat flux sensor, which measures the heat that passes through an area. While there are commercially available heat flux sensors, those options carry too high of a thermal resistance and cause the TPV's temperature to rise, which in turn decreases its efficiency. My responsibility has been to develop a heat flux sensor with a low thermal resistance. To accomplish this, we are utilizing the Seebeck effect, which is the voltage that results from the temperature difference between 2 points on a material. In the example depicted here, as the heater heats up the top surface of the copper and the bottom is kept cool, a voltage can be measured between the two surfaces proportional to the copper's Seebeck coefficient, S. We initially sought to make a heat flux sensor using direct bond copper, or DBC. DBC is made of two thin pieces of copper directly bonded to a ceramic. Aluminum nitride was chosen as the ceramic for its thermal conductivity and presumably high Seebeck coefficient. We observed that the voltage signal was too noisy to make accurate measurements, and it was then that we learned that aluminum nitride is a piezoelectric ceramic, a material that outputs a voltage when you apply pressure to it. And as you can see, the magnitude of the voltage caused by the piezoelectric effects drowns out the other voltage readings. During those immense voltage spikes, I was applying a frequent intermittent force to the piece of DBC. And we believe that the DBC's fabrication process may induce a constant state of stress on the aluminum nitride that results in the noise that we're seeing. While troubleshooting DBC, we conducted an experiment to confirm our tools are capable of measuring Seebeck voltages. We chose steel because of its high thermal resistance that would enable one portion of the steel to drastically increase in temperature, while the other portions remain cool. As expected, we were able to achieve up to a 60-degree temperature difference and read voltage signals of up to 260 microvolts. Additionally, by tracking the temperature difference, we were able to determine our steel's Seebeck coefficient, 5.4 microvolts per Kelvin, which is within an order of magnitude of the value we found in literature. We are currently testing silicon as a potential heat flux sensor. This metalloid has a high Seebeck coefficient of 440 microvolts per Kelvin, as well as a high thermal conductivity. Although silicon is promising, it also has photoelectric properties, meaning that when it is exposed to light, it will output a voltage. Therefore, we must plate both sides of the silicon with gold to absorb any incoming light. The gold will also act as a surface we can bond our electrical connections to. Following that, we will use a manufactured heat flux sensor to develop an equation that converts the Seebeck voltages measured from silicon to heat flux values. And finally, after the silicon heat flux sensor is complete, we will test it in the black body cavity emitter to simulate the TEG's applications. I would like to thank my graduate mentor, Alina Lapotin, my faculty mentor, Dr. Ashegun-Henry, and the other graduate students who helped me this summer, Colin Kelsau and Kyle Buznitsky. I would also like to thank my MSRP coordinators, Dr. Noelle Wakefield and Maria Cervantes Gonzalez. Thank you all for listening.
So thank you, Tobi, for presenting some of the awesome research at the Henry Lab. It's hard to believe that the summer has come to an end. It has been wonderful to be able to see such a vibrant group of students arrive to MIT and go from thinking, oh, can I do this, or will I be good enough to do this, to having completed their projects and being able to talk in details about the work that they did and the decisions they had to take as they were working through the problems that they were given. Having been where you are now, I want to say a couple of things as you go on in your lives. So firstly, keep in contact with the people that you meet this summer. Many of them will go on to awesome graduate programs. Others will go to work for fantastic companies, and some may even start their own. Your cohort was selected to be in this program because you have great potential. And as time passes, you will come to see this, so really, do keep in contact. Secondly, pay it forward. Wherever you go, try to mentor people. And if you see potential in them, help them achieve it. A little help in some points in life can go a long way. And lastly, give a big thanks and applause to Maria and Noelle and the other pod leaders who have all come together to make this experience for you the best possible one. We genuinely hope you had a great experience and you go on to do great things. Now, at this time, we would like to recognize the hard work, dedication, and many accomplishments of the 2021 MSRP cohort. Please join us in applauding from wherever you are.
Hi, my name is Dr. Noelle Wakefield, and I'm the Assistant Director of Diversity Initiatives and the MIT Summer Research Program in the Office of Graduate Education. I'd like to start with an African proverb. It goes, "It takes a village to raise a child." And essentially what that means is that in order for a child to grow, to be empowered, to experience feelings of belonging and acceptance, it takes the entire village to come together to embrace and pour into that child. And so in the context of MSRP, it takes a village to run MSRP. And while there are far too many people to name, I'd like to start by thanking our Application Review Committee for believing in and seeing something in our 2021 cohort. Your dedication to reading over 500 applications is integral to the program, and so we thank you for helping to shape our cohort. And if I do say so myself, we did a pretty terrific job. Thank you to our faculty mentors and research supervisors for providing a research home, one where interns have been encouraged to explore their curiosity and learn by doing, and to our graduate students for showing interns what's possible. To the Office of Graduate Education and Grad Diversity, we did it. Your commitment to changing the landscape of graduate education is admirable. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the financial contributions of IBM Research and the MIT IBM Watson AI Lab, the CETA Foundation, Eric S. Yuan, and an anonymous donor, all of whose contributions made the significant expansion of this year's MSRP program possible. And finally, to the interns, this moment is always bittersweet because we're always really sad to see you leave, hopeful that you'll return to MIT, and really just excited to see what you'll do in the future and how you'll change the world. And so if you leave MIT with nothing else, know that nothing beats a failure but a try. We hope that you leave this place empowered and encouraged to pursue your passions. Also know that you are intelligent, your contribution and voice matters, and you will change the world. So let your light shine. And now, a word from Dean Blanche Staton.
Greetings to everyone. I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to both extend thanks to all who have made this year's rather unique program successful, and to acknowledge the experiences and accomplishments of our interns. To our faculty, I add my thanks to Noelle's for your commitment to the development of our future researchers, our future innovators, teachers, and government and industry leaders. Thank you also for your investment of time, especially during this challenging and exhausting pandemic, which has impacted all of our lives for at least a year and a half at this point. To our graduate student assistants, otherwise known as pod leaders, as well as the postdocs, graduate students, and others in the research groups and departments who have cared for, mentored, encouraged, and otherwise supported our interns. We in the Office of the Vice Chancellor and the Office of Graduate Education are enormously grateful to you. To all of those who undergird the program, who work behind the scenes, without whom we would be doomed, we are infinitely grateful for your generosity of spirit and your time, along with plain old hard work on a consistent basis without any expectation of reward. To the Diversity Initiative staff in the OGE, and I am talking about Maria Cervantes Gonzalez and Dr. Noelle Wakefield, who together crafted and delivered a program double its usual size and with half the staff we normally would have to support MSRP. You are truly the wind beneath the wings of the program. You are the movers and shakers. You are the engine. I applaud and thank you with all of my heart, and I look forward to having you take a vacation. To each and every one, no matter your role, I salute you for your contributions to advancing a diverse and inclusive community, one that embraces the belonging of all of the talented individuals who aspire to graduate education. And finally, to the interns, I'm glad that you decided to spend your summer at MIT. I hope it has been a transformative summer in some ways, and that you've been able to thrive in the midst of challenge, change, and uncertainty. That you have learned more about your strengths, how to leverage them, and how to enhance them. That you have learned the value of teamwork. I always say teamwork makes the dream work. I hope that you have been enriched and emboldened by the experiences of this summer. And finally, I hope that you've made new life friends and colleagues, as that alone is priceless. As you return to your home institutions, remember to encourage those who come behind you and to share with them what you have learned and what might be possible for them. It will be wonderful to see you again as graduate students at MIT, but whatever you choose to do, go confidently into the future and make a better world. Thank you all for listening, and be well.
At this time, we invite you to join us for the live virtual poster session, where you will have an opportunity to interact with our interns and learn more about the research they conducted this summer. Please click on the link located on the top right of your screen. It reads, "Join the virtual poster session." Thank you.